Okay, thank you, Akashi. Thank you very much. Okay, that's like I don't know, like the stream of things that go wrong. So first, the whole NVIDIA driver crashes and the stream interrupts. Then I forgot to enable the microphone because I switched directly to the scene. Okay, so back we go. And for the now third time, hello and welcome to another episode of Daily Market Mastery with me, Christian Rauchenwald. Someday I will manage that. Usual disclaimer, everything that I share in this live stream / video is my personal opinion and in no way financial or professional advice of any kind. You should always do your own research, consult certified professionals, draw your own conclusions, and make your own decisions. And besides that, all the tools that I'm using are linked in the description down below, and I'm not going to repeat the other stuff of that. So check out the description down below if you're curious what I'm using, what I'm doing, and if you can do it too. With that, now we can jump here. Thank you, Akashi, for pointing out the sound issue. And we can see that we have a pretty much break-even start into the week. There's one small trade we made last week, which was the $22, $23 options trade betting against Intel. That where I'm probably get proven wrong. We'll look at that in a second. Other than that, we have our usual $30 covered calls against our GameStop shares, and still our January Novavax call and the long-term Grop Leap, and obviously shares in a couple of more or less promising stocks. Now before we look into the specifics, we're actually going to start with Intel today, I guess. That is apparently frozen, and okay, so I'll have to, I have to close Motive Wave Task Manager. So the stream is really going great so far. Motive Wave and there we go. And let's hope it starts properly. Yeah, someday. But I don't think that's the case because the disclaimer is literally written on the screen on the gray bar at the bottom as well. So good luck with that. Now, back we are. And theoretically, everything should be working, and we can look at Intel. Yeah? So last week's assumption on my end was that potentially we have only wave A down here because it's hard to see a three-wave move here. And then I thought this might be A, B, C, and we'll get our wave C downwards. Yeah. Now we can see that we are getting another push up here. Now it's still possible that this will be in some form A, B, C, and so on. Yeah. But which means we wouldn't get as low, and probably maybe not by the 18th when our put option or our put options expire. So however, it's still possible that we'll get a stronger push down. We'll, however, have to consider that it's also now here looking like we are about to get a 5-wave push. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In which case we might want to get out of that small options trade. I mean, we're only talking about $23, but still every profitable trade counts. Because if that's 5-wave, we would expect to get an ABC here at least before we go further up, giving us the chance to potentially still get out of the trade, like break even or with a $1 or $2 profit, or I don't know. Yeah, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. Maybe even like consider setting an order. But that's that's the point. So I got it wrong here on Intel. Clearly today we have a green day instead of what I expected, that we will get another push down here. Happens. Nobody's perfect, but as said, still a chance to salvage the trade unless there's a super strong movement. But if that becomes something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then we should get an ABC, and with some luck, then the option premiums for the 2150 put options that we have again increase, allowing us to sell them break even or for a small profit. Again, it's like only $23 risk, so even if we don't do that, it's not the end of the world. But ideally, we'll have to make a decision to either say no, we'll hold on, and maybe there's still the push down that I'm hoping for or that I'm expecting. I have to fix that, or we get out and try to get out as good as possible here. Moving on, GameStop starts slightly red. nothing changed compared to recent labelings and forecasts on my side. So we're still waiting for either a break to the bottom of the 1931 mark or a break to the top of the 2524 mark to confirm that either our correction officially finished here and we're in the next upwards impulse, or that we are still in a correcting mood that might take us down as low as 15.30 here, where we have the overlap of the 78.6 retracement and the 100% expansion level for a big free wave corrective move. Obviously, labeling this big corrective move is a challenge. So yeah, like I'm not gonna, or I can't provide a likelihood forecast or whatever either way in one or the other direction. So we'll have to wait and see how it goes. But again, the marks, so long term, I still think we'll go up, but short term, I said I consider the possibility that we go as low as $15.30. Yeah, moving on, Barnes & Noble's educational. Here we had last week our perfect bounce, and now we are basically waiting to see, which we might get to see today. We probably would need to go higher than ideally 965 to have a confirmation or some kind of confirmation, but I think this marks a free wave corrective move that we trace pretty much on the spot 61.8%, which makes it a very, very likely spot to turn around and give us the next 5-wave impulse upwards. So yeah, throughout October and November, we should, if I'm right, see upwards movement that should take us above the 1440 that we had here. Yeah, we'll need a couple of days to see if I'm right or wrong here. And yeah, moving on. Immersion. Yeah, still we'll need a couple of days. We're basically, there was at least partially wrong because we got that push down below the 100% expansion mark. I thought actually that we might be done here with the correction, but we got another small push down. We're still within the parameters for valid corrective patterns. It's just that this would be, in quotes, in my opinion, the most likely. So the 61.8 retracement in combination with a 100% expansion for a free wave move. But yeah, looks like, again, we're partially wrong here. Time will tell if we were only slightly wrong. There's still a possibility, I mean, that we get 1, 2, 3, 4, and another 5, so that we go still a little lower. Now that we made the break off that line, I wouldn't rule that out. I would worry if we go below the 771, so the 78.6 retracement. If we briefly pierce it, it's okay, but if we actually have a candle close below it, it's gonna be worrisome. So we're gonna have an eye on the next couple of days to see if we get a confirmation that we're actually in the next upwards move or not. Now, as said, Intel, I believe I was wrong, or maybe, I mean, I might still turn out right, but our original assumption was that we are here done and that green candle shouldn't exist. Still possible that I'm right, and we'll go get our push down from here. Gonna be a tough choice to decide if we want to get out of our option trade, but for considering that's $23, we probably will keep an eye on it and still hold it, so that, because there's still the possibility. One is to say we retraced sufficiently enough, 38.2%, but again, my issue is that I have a hard time labeling this as a proper free wave corrective move. It's more likely for me that this is some kind of 5-wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which means we would still miss 5 waves down. No, we're not going to look at the chart because it's likely not loading, but we are getting closer to the 20-cent mark, and once we break the bottom and go below 20 cents, it's going to become interesting. COS has signs of upwards movement finally, so we were waiting basically since here for a confirmation that we indeed are finished with the correction, in which case we hopefully are now forming the next 5 waves up. But on a daily chart, we still will need a week or two to have more candles on the chart to kind of like get a confirmation either way. And NEO, still, I mean, we got out here, so we got out very well. And we're still waiting for a confirmation. It would point, or there would be support for the idea that the correction is over here. We have close to the 161.8 expansion level for a free wave move. We are at the 38.2 retracement. We just briefly pierced it and bounced from it, but there's also the option that the correction itself will turn out bigger. Again, we are just looking at it to consider potential re-entries. We luckily got out pretty much close to the top, so even though it was only a small position, but still a good overall trade and pattern. So we'll have to keep an eye on that to wait for confirmation either way, either for that the retracement is going to be bigger and it's not just 1, 2, 3, A, B, C and we're done, but that it might be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and then A, B, C and then further, so maybe till 61.8. Or for confirmation that we indeed finish the correction here, and this is going to be the next wave 1, 2 in some kind for the next upwards movement. Novavax, going to have a sip of my coffee before we dive into that. So Novavax has, interestingly enough, again, a small or a red candle here today. It's a little tricky because we all actually thought that potentially, yeah, we're already done with the correction, but it looks like we're not. Now, the thing here is, we only would start to or have to start to worry if we break below 1171. Then it would be a little bit confusing as to what kind of pattern is going on here, but also only on the smaller scale. On the bigger scale, nothing changed, and my labeling, or I still think my labeling is accurate, pointing towards 1, 2, 3, 4, and wave 5 should actually take us at least to the $29 mark. So while it might still go sideways further in the beginning and whatnot, I still think that the overall labeling points bullish, and only the lower time frame labeling we would have to redo that if we break the 1171. Yeah, so as long as we stay above 1171, while this here is confusing to label, it's still perfectly fine within the boundaries that we've defined and the pattern that we've defined. Obviously, I would prefer to get a strong push upwards to get confirmation, but even if that's not the case, yeah, like we're good to go and move further here. So at least, yeah, like on the daily chart and 8-hour time frame. 4-hour time frame, as we see, is a little tricky with the whole mess that's moving here. But yeah, so 1171 would be the point to reconsider, or at least try to reconsider this part here. But as long as we stay above that, we are quite good, in my opinion. Now, NVIDIA having a 2% start into the day, we can see we're still far off from the 5-wave target. Again, I would not necessarily get into that right now because it's hard to, or like the downside for being wrong is bigger than the upside. But we can see that we're potentially forming the next 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So a little bit more room, 4, 5. Then another small correction, then another push. And with that, we will then have potentially finished wave 1, wave 2, and wave 3. Or wave A, wave B, and wave C. Either way, after that, there should be a correction, yeah. So yeah, like if I'd be in NVIDIA, I mean, I would right now probably start working with a trailing stop loss, considering that we also have a trend channel here, which could form our base channel. And so that in case we trend down to the bottom of this channel again, you basically get out with a profit. Yeah, I would not get in right now, since there's also the chance that we bounce from this channel, yeah, but from the overall pattern, I think there's still more upside into the area of 142, 149. And yeah, with that, we can move on. SMCI, there we have two patterns. One of them is basically, this might be ABC, and we're going up, which seems to come true. So, although we only retraced 21.4%, so I wouldn't bet the house on it just yet. But yeah, like the bounce still happened nicely on the 161.8 expansion. And what else do we have? Wheeler. Yeah, not much new here. That one, 100%. Here we retraced 78.6 at the roughly 161.8 expansion level. Yeah, like I think there will be more bullish movement, but confirmation would only be once we break the 2260 mark, so can wait that as well. Nasdaq, let's see what we get there. So I see today will be one of the shorter episodes. Okay, we still have upside here as well. Likely finish the first 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we'll get another correction and then another push, another correction, another push, and we should reach 20,700 here over the next couple of weeks. And SPY, do we have any clear pattern here? Yeah, clear. 1, 2, 3, 4, and wave 5. We actually breached the 100% expansion level for this wave 5 target here. So next target actually 584. So we're gonna get rid of some of this here right now. So next target here 584.42. So I mean, it's not too much room, but still that would be the area for the next correction in that case. In which case this here is 1, 2, and that's currently the wave 3 forming. Then we'll get another correction, and then we get another push up. So that's going to be interesting to watch. Jumping onto the train right now, not worth it. Obviously, whoever jumped on it today at market open made a killing, or maybe even who got on Friday the options for today. I probably would consider getting put options when we touch the 586.33. So, and then even 0-day or 1-day expiration. So that might be worth a play. Visually, that will need to be an extended wave. I mean, we're not guaranteed to reach the 261.8. If we already broke basically this target, but if we look here, yeah, we can see that even here we will have to break this target to touch that. Not sure if it will happen today, but basically by Wednesday we should touch this area here, at least 238.2. That would be too early to go in with a zero expiration or zero DTE option play. But if we manage to touch this one here, that would be, in my opinion, the right moment to buy put options. Not to bet the house on it again, but like to just risk a little bit of capital with a potential expected bounce payoff. Yeah. And I think with that, we actually already made it through. So not a lot changed. I mean, obviously, there was only the weekend in between. GameStop, we're still waiting and waiting and waiting. And I mean, we've been waiting for years, but we'll have to wait a little more to see or get confirmation either way. Again, like right now, both is in the cards, instantly up or first down and then up. Either way, long term, I don't think it makes a difference until either way or until one of those happens. We'll keep writing call options at the $30 strike price. Intel, yeah, it looks, or at least I'm partially wrong because I thought we're already done here. There's still the option that we're done here, but from the look of it, also possible that we first go further up. We only have $23 risk, so like even if I'm wrong, not the end of the world. And Novavax, yeah. Also, so far, overall moving in the right direction, but just not as fast as I want it to be, especially since our option expires in January. So we still have a couple weeks left, but eventually we need to get an upwards push. Otherwise, as we can see, our Novavax option is in the red. And we have an astonishing $230 risk on that trade. So we could still close it for a $40 loss right now, but I still think the pattern holds. The question is, will it hold in time? And I think for October, it's still fine. I think mid of November would be the time where we would have to consider closing it early, even if it means realizing a small loss, unless we obviously get to moving in the right direction. And yeah, I think we'll call it a day with that. Like we covered everything. We have positions in that matters. And as so often, I still have a long to-do list with other stuff. Yeah, as far as being right, the week didn't start off great with there being partially wrong in Intel. And other than that, not much change to confirm being right or wrong, I think, or at least as far as I can recall. And even Intel is not yet fully gone, but likely our options for Friday will be. So yeah, I'm gonna call it a day here. So sorry for the technical issues in the beginning of today's stream, And thanks Akashi for pointing out that I forgot to unmute the microphone. I hope you all have yeah, I mean, not that my start into the trading week was so unsuccessful. We're pretty much break even starting into the week. But I hope that you had at least the same or a better start into the trading week. And thanks for stopping by, and then see you all tomorrow, same time. So around 5 minutes before market opens or Nasdaq opens for another episode of Daily Market Mastery. And yeah,